Welcome to the Nerds and Nonsense podcast. We have another fantasy football friendly focus episode 2. And today we're going to be focusing on quarterbacks and running backs. A note I forgot in the last episode was that you can also trade players within the league. It has to be approved within, I think, about 3 days or so, and everybody in the league has to approve it. I think if one or two people deny the trade, then the trade is voided. And also, if you drop players, depending on their status, they could be sent to the waiver wire or as a free agent. Most likely, to the waiver wire because this will prevent other teams from picking them up right away to add to their team. So it gives them everyone else a fair advantage. So we're going to start off with quarterbacks right now. Primarily going to go over quarterbacks that you probably want to have as your QB1 compared to your QB2, or they could vice versa. But I'm just going to go in order here that I have and show you which ones that you probably should be having a starting quarterback and probably who you should be picking as a backup quarterback on your team. So I have some notes right here. So number one is Josh Allen, definitely starting quarterback. He's got McKenzie and I think Davis and Diggs still on the team, so definitely starting quarterback on your team. Lamar Jackson, I have some reservations on him, but he's still really good. I don't know any of the wide receivers that he has right now because Hollywood Brown was traded to the Cardinals. He still has Mark Andrews. He's still a threat with his legs, so I would definitely still say him to be a QB1. Justin Herbert, definitely. He still has Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton, tons of receivers. Definitely QB1. Mahomes, he did lose Tyreek Hill, but he did get, I think, is it Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith, and he's still a threat with his legs. So, he still has the ability, so definitely a QB1. Jalen Hurts, I didn't see a lot of him last year, and I had a friend that picked him last year, and it did really bad for his team. But he does have A.J. Brown this year, so I'm not sure. I would say QB2 until he proves otherwise. He plays in a tough division, the NFC East, so definitely a QB2. Next person would be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, definitely QB1. He will have Hopkins back after suspension, and a couple of receivers I forgot, but a dual threat, can throw and he can run, so definitely QB1 if you can get him. Joe Burrow, definitely QB1. He has all his receivers. Higgins, Boyd, and oh my God, I forgot the other guy. The guy that's really good broke up, but it'll come back to me when I do the wide receivers. But you guys are probably grooming for that. But definitely QB1. Tom Brady, definitely QB1. He's still got Evans. He's got Godwin, Brait, all his weapons still there. So definitely QB1. Russell Wilson. He's on a new team now with Broncos, but I would still call him QB1 because he's on a young team that has young wide receivers. He's just going to make them better. Running backs as well, so definitely QB1. Have Trey Lance on here, but I recently saw that Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back, so I would put Jimmy Garoppolo over Trey Lance. I would say Garoppolo to be a QB2, probably because he's injury prone. He does have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, but he does play in a very tough NFC West, so definitely a QB2 should be your QB2, like a backup starter. Dak Prescott, I would say QB1 for sure. He's still got Lamb. Gallup is hurt, but he'll come back. He's still got Zeke and then his tight ends. I still think they got the advantage in NFC East, so definitely QB1 for Dak. Stafford definitely QB1. He's still got Cup. They just picked up Allen Robinson. So yeah, they got a lot of weapons. Their defense is really good. So Matt Stafford definitely QB1. Kirk Cousins, I'll say QB1 because they have Jefferson there. They still have they picked up Jalen Rager, yes, and oh my God, sorry, I should have done more research, but they have the other wide receiver, number 18, Thielen. That's his name. Yeah, Adam Thielen's still there too. So another weapon for him to throw to. The NFC North is kind of wide open now since Aaron Rodgers lost Davante Adams. So I think that they're definitely going to throw the ball a lot more in Minnesota. So if you get a chance to get Kirk Cousins, definitely QB1. Derek Carr is the next one. I would say QB1 for sure. He's got Renfro, Waller as tight end, and now, of course, he's got Davante Adams. So definitely QB1. Aaron Rodgers, I guess the record speaks for itself. Even though he lost Davante Adams and Scotland Valdez, yeah, and I think Lazard is the number one receiver, and they drafted somebody, but it's still Aaron Rodgers. He's gonna make receivers better, so I'm on the fence. Probably QB1, of course, due to his athletic ability. Trevor Lawrence, QB2, still has to prove something. Last year wasn't really that well, and I probably need to see something better from him this year. So. Oh, by the way, these are in no particular order. I just pulled up a spreadsheet that had the quarterbacks, and I'm just going down the line. So, Justin Fields, same thing. Has something to prove. I mean, I think if anything, he has less weapons than Trevor Lawrence. So, he plays in a tough division in the NFC North. So, until he proves something, definitely QB2, maybe a flyer, a streamer quarterback. So let me see who else. Tua Tagovailoa. So, I would definitely say QB1 now. He has Tyreek Hill, and he has Jalen Waddle, and the offense is pretty good around him. He can scramble, so I would say QB1 for now. I think he's heard that he's doing pretty well in practice and everything, so I definitely say QB1 for Tua. Daniel Jones, probably QB2, streamer at most, depending on who is your quarterback on bye that week. He's been injured a lot, inconsistent, and even when they brought in weapons for him, it seemed that they didn't do really well. So Daniel Jones probably QB2 best, streamer at best. So let's see, Matt Ryan. So I think Matt Ryan going to the Colts is a good thing. It's going to rejuvenate his career. He's got Michael Pittman to throw to, Jonathan Taylor to hand it off to, so that'll take a lot of pressure off him. He'll probably find more receivers. So leading toward Matt Ryan being a QB1, being in Indianapolis, new environment, new wide receivers, and new running back is definitely going to help him. Jared Goff, definitely QB2. Receivers don't really know their names. Offense is kind of bad, and yeah, I would streamer at most. Let's see, Jameis Winston. So this one is kind of tough because they do have a pretty solid team. They have Michael Thomas and I forgot the other wide receivers. They still have Kamara. They seem to gel pretty well when he's healthy, but I will lean toward QB1. If they're behind, or they can't run the ball really well, then he's going to throw the ball a lot, and he has a pretty good arm. So I would lean toward QB1. If you can get somebody better, then get somebody better. But Winston, 1, if you don't have a quarterback. 2, if possible. Ryan Tannehill. I see him losing A.J. Brown as a big blow to him. They're going to rely more on Derrick Henry in the running game. Um, I think they drafted a wide receiver, but it's an up-and-coming wide receiver, so not sure how they're going to do. So I had him on my team last year, and he didn't do as well. So I'm definitely going to lean toward QB2 because of the offensive weapons that he doesn't have besides Derrick Henry. So QB2 for Ryan Tannehill. Mac Jones, I think I streamed him once or twice last year. Definitely leading toward QB2. Playing an extremely tough division in the AFC East. Got to deal with the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins. So they're winning some games, but they have a pretty good run game and a pretty good defense. So I probably don't have to rely on him throwing as much. So definitely a QB2, maybe QB1 depending on the matchup. So, Carson Wentz, definitely QB2 or streamer at most. He didn't prove much of anything last year in Indianapolis, so now he's with the Commanders. He's got Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas and some good weapons. Antonio Gibson, running back. He's got some good weapons in Washington, but it's kind of a wait and see thing. I wouldn't risk drafting him as a starter. Definitely a QB2 or as a streamer at best, depending on the matchup. Let's see. So, Baker Mayfield with Carolina. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got something to prove. They still have, is it DJ Moore still with the team? And they also traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars for, is it Laviscus Chenault? I'm sorry if I don't know that name. But so that's another weapon they could add to them. So I think he's got something to prove. He's going to go out there, and I think he's going to play pretty well. So, but I think he's more of the QB2 right now until he fits in the system. Maybe give it a couple of games and see how he does. But I would definitely aim for him for as a QB2, probably as a streamer. More of a QB2 because he's got a pretty good arm, and I think Carolina is not too bad of a team. So I would give him a shot more at QB2 than the streamer. Marcus Mariota. So that one is tough. I would probably QB2. The Falcons don't have a lot of offensive weapons besides Kyle Pitts. They'll probably be double teaming him. I don't know anything about the run game that's going on right now. Another tough division in the NFC South. QB2 at most, probably streamer. So. Davis Mills with the Texans. So he showed a lot of grit last year. He played tough. They still have Brandon Cooks, a young team around them. Probably leaning toward QB2, of course. Stash him on your bench if you need to, a streamer. See how he plays after a couple of games, and then see if the matchup is good. But probably he has a chance to prove himself this year after last year, so I would definitely put him as a QB2 streamer at best. Zach Wilson. So I heard that he got hurt during preseason. There's like a lot of off-season issues with him. I don't know exactly what's going on. I think he was hurt more toward the end of last season as well. He's got a good young team around him, but still a lot to prove. So definitely QB2 for right now. I think Mike White is in to sub for him. So definitely QB2 streamer at most right now because again in the AFC East tough division. So. Mitch Trubisky in Pittsburgh. So, heard he did pretty well in the preseason. He's got some good receivers, very good running back. So, just depends on what he does with it. So, it's kind of see how it goes kind of thing with him. I would say definitely QB2, but again, he plays in AFC North, which is a very tough division. A lot of you deal with Browns, Ravens, and Bengals. So they're really good defense. They're gonna harass him a lot. Um, Probably more on the streaming side, just maybe based on matchups. See how he does after a couple of games, and then maybe pick him up or just have him on your bench. Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks. QB2's streamer at best. I don't think he did really well when Russell Wilson was hurt last year. He's got DJ Metcalf just re-signed, and Tyler Lockett, and I think they have a young running back crew. So he's got the receivers. He just has to connect with them. But he's going to play against the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers, twice a year. So I would probably use him as a streamer at best. Jacoby Brissett for the Browns. He is going to be subbing for Watson while he serves his 11-game suspension. Brissett's been a good journeyman. I know that they have Amari Cooper over there, but I probably wouldn't start him at all. Streamer at best. QB2 is a backup. See how he does. It's a tough division, and once Watson comes back, he's going to go back to the bench. Speaking of Deshaun Watson, he's the next quarterback. So it's up to you if you want to pick up Watson. He's a really good quarterback, but now he's in a different system now, different division. So we're gonna wait and see. And then you have to wait till week 12 to play him. So that's gonna come up around almost playoff time, and then who knows what's gonna go on, if he's gonna click well with his team or what. So that's a very risky pickup if you want to pick him up. Of course, maybe just a streamer at best, QB2, just maybe a stash on your bench to see how he does. But yeah, I would definitely not start him as soon as he gets back. Definitely needs to connect with his offense first before he starting him for any games. Let's see. And that's pretty much it for all the quarterbacks. There's some backup quarterbacks, but we'll go through them throughout the season. If there's any injuries, then we'll recommend who to pick up and who to drop. So definitely, hopefully, my advice helps you out. That you're able to pick up, one or two of these quarterbacks. I recommend it to be QB1s. You have one, but two is even better. So they can help out your team. So we're definitely going to go to running backs next. So, Jonathan Taylor is ranked number 1. Definitely pick him up if you have the chance. He's probably going to be the first overall pick after his breakout rookie season. He has a better quarterback now than Matt Ryan. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball. So definitely pick him up if you have a chance to. If he slides to you for some reason, definitely get him. He's definitely first overall pick. So, Christian McCaffrey. I tended to stay away from him because he's injury prone, and just the team that he's on, the Panthers, because at the time they just relied on him too much, to screenplays and running the ball. So the wear and tear on his body took a toll on him, and then he's forced to be injured out most of the season. I wouldn't waste a first round pick on him. If he was there in the second, third round, possibly, but I would totally avoid him in the first round. So, and we're just going based on first round picks, second round picks. Because I recommend that in the last video that your first 2 to 3 picks should be running backs, because they are by far probably the most valuable position and hardest to replace if the player gets injured. So, next down the line is Austin Ekeler. Definitely pick him up if you have a chance. He's dual threat, catches the ball, and runs the ball really well. He does get injured. That's why they have a lot of, I think they have Roundtree, Kelly, and they just drafted Spiller as well. So he might see a lot of playing time cut, but he's still definitely the starter. Definitely pick him up if you have the chance to. Dalvin Cook. I know last year he was hurt a lot too. I had him about 2 years ago. He did pretty well. Yeah, he's a starter, so definitely pick him up if you have the chance to. Derrick Henry. I had him last year. He was killing it until he got hurt toward the end of the year. That kind of messed up my whole season. But he's a starter. He's still a beast. I would definitely pick him up. Joe Mixon. Definitely pick him up. He's on a really good team. It's well balanced, and yeah, definitely pick him up if you have the chance. Saquon Barkley. Now, I think he's on a really bad team. They're probably going to be playing from behind a lot, so I don't know. His chance of running the ball is going to be a lot. When he does run the ball, he's really good. I wouldn't recommend wasting a first round pick on him. Second to third, if he's there, best. Probably a flex spot at best. Aaron Jones. So he's been pretty good running back for the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. So definitely pick him up there. He's still part of a very good team. So him and A.J. Dillon are going to split carries, but he's pretty much the workhorse. So definitely pick him up. Najee Harris. Definitely pick him up. Big surprise rookie from last year. He's probably going to be asked to do more with Trubisky as now his quarterback, so definitely pick up Harris. DeAndre Swift, probably a flex at most, which is probably like the third round guy if you want. I wouldn't waste the first or second round on him. Still kind of on a bad team. Pretty good, decent running back, but on a bad team, so flex at most for DeAndre Swift. Alvin Kamara, yes, definitely first overall pick. If you can get him in the first round, he's still pretty good. Still got Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston throwing to him, and he also does a lot of screen plays. So definitely pick up Kamara if you can. Leonard Fournette, he was one of the guys I picked up in the later rounds last year. I think it was him and Ronald Jones. Like I think they named Ronald Jones as starter. I think when Ronald Jones got hurt or was underperforming, Leonard Fournette stepped in and just took over the starting role and never let it go. He's a bruiser. He'll get you touchdowns. Definitely get him if you can. If he's there in the first round and there's nothing like really left, get him. But if you're able to get a good starting running back, and in the second round he's available, get him. Yeah, he's a bruiser. He plays for a really good team. He'll score you a lot of points. So. Nick Chubb. I say yes because he's a starter, but he also splits carries with Kareem Hunt, and Chubb is a pretty good runner, but he does get hurt, and he does split carries with Hunt. So if he's there, I would say get him. But if you can somehow wait to the second round, possibly third round, I don't think he'll be in third round, but second round for sure. Definitely get him. Javonte Williams with the Denver Broncos. So the thing with him is that he showed pretty good promise as a rookie with the Broncos, but he's splitting with Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon is known to fumble a lot. So it's kind of tough if there's some split carries, but I wouldn't draft him really high, maybe in the later rounds if possible, because there's a lot of other good running backs to pick up. He'd probably be good at a good bench stash, for bye weeks, because we don't know how he's going to perform with, like I said, splitting carries with Melvin Gordon and playing with a new quarterback in Russell Wilson. Let's see. James Conner in Arizona, another guy that I picked up in one of my leagues. I knew that the running back that they had listed as a starter, I couldn't remember who it was wasn't big enough to play a 3-down back, and then Connor had the experience, so I picked him up and stashed him on my bench, and once he got hit a starting position, he never let it go. He scored a bunch of touchdowns too. Definitely worth a later round pickup. I don't think he would go in the first 1 or 2 rounds, but he'd probably be there in the third or fourth round, and definitely swoop him up. He just got a contract extension with the Cardinals. He knows the system well, so yeah, definitely worth the pickup. Ezekiel Elliott, and by no means am I going to read this off like in some kind of ranking. It's just a list that I have online right here, but that definitely a QB one. A running back one, because he still plays with Dak and CeeDee Lamb, and pretty good, really good offensive line. He's going to get you a lot of yards. I know he kind of had a down year last year a little bit, but he's still a workhorse. Definitely in the first or second round, if you can get him, get him. Elijah Mitchell with the 49ers. So he's definitely like a later round pick, I would say, because they tend to get injured a lot in San Francisco, where they use a running back by committee. So if he's there in the later rounds, yeah, definitely pick him up. But I wouldn't waste like a first or second round pick on him. So on also plays NFC West too, very tough division to run on. So let's see, we have Travis Etienne Jr. with Jacksonville. So last year he was hurt. He had I think a foot injury that took him out the entire season, and the Jaguars still have James Robinson. That's still a proven good running back. So I would go with Robinson over Etienne Jr. because Robinson is more proven. So they're probably split carries, which makes it a little bit easier. But then I guess you could. It's a feel process. See how he does. Maybe stash him on your bench. See how he does. But definitely a later round pickup, maybe 4th or 5th round pickup. So let's see what else we got here. So we have Reese Hall with the Jets. Now I wasn't really familiar seeing him run last year, but if he's a starter, then definitely pick him up in the later rounds because he'll probably be there. So I'd say like if there's a starter at any position that you see that you recognize and say, well, there's a starter, they're definitely gonna get reps. Either they're gonna get thrown to or they're getting the ball handed off to them. So if they're there, they're the starter, they're definitely gonna get more reps than somebody else. So he's probably worth a flyer in the later rounds. So I already mentioned A.J. Dillon. So here's a new guy that's been emerging in Houston. So Damien Pierce. So looks like he's been doing really well in preseason. I think he's gonna be named a starter. So definitely take a look at him for sure. Worth probably a later round pick because of course preseason is definitely different than regular season. So, and the last time that a rookie running back was shining in preseason and got the starting job, there was a guy named Arian Foster. Picked him up, won the championship. So definitely worth a stash on the bench just to see how he does. So David Montgomery with the Bears. He actually had a nice bounce back season with the Bears last year. Definitely worth a 3rd round pick if you can get him. A flex for sure. Late second round to early 3rd round pick. They're definitely going to lean on him a lot. So David Montgomery definitely worth consideration right there. So we have Chase Edmonds in Miami. I think he was with the Cardinals last year. Yes, I think he was with the Cardinals, and he was slated to be the starter, but then he got hurt, and that's when Connors took over. I don't really like the Miami running back situation. It's kind of like they don't really have like a starter really in there, so possibly later on maybe when you have your starters all picked up, and then you pick up him as a bench guy, but I wouldn't risk starting pick him up in the early rounds at all. So Cam Akers with the Rams. So he did really good with Henderson out last year. So I think with Henderson coming back, that definitely going to split carries, but it plays on a really good team. Probably worth a flex pickup or a later round pickup. So for sure, he's a starter. Josh Jacobs. I think he is definitely worth a late first round pick to early second round pick. Flex the lowest because he's a starter. He's on a team that just got better with Davante Adams and Derek Carr still there. So Josh Jacobs definitely worth a pickup for sure. J.K. Dobbins. So he's coming off a season-ending surgery. So I don't know how he's gonna do. They might lean on him a little bit more since Jackson might run the ball more himself, or because I don't really know the wide receiver situation there, so they might have him be in a running back committee. So Dobbins probably later round pick up a bench stash, just see how he comes back. He was really good when he wasn't injured, but when he got injured, like it all went downhill after that for all the Baltimore running backs. Rashaad Penny, he did really well toward the end, I think, when Carson's got hurt and they had all those other running backs come in. So I think this is kind of like a make or break year for him. He has to do well. I think that I heard that Seattle has a pretty good running. They draft a really good running back. They're doing really well, but Penny will probably be another late round pick up bench stash for sure. Damien Harris. Now he is one of the jewels, I think, and hidden jewels in the running back class. I picked him up several times within the past couple years, and even though they have a running back committee sometimes in New England, he's shown that he could, run the ball really well, scores a bunch of touchdowns. So he's a great addition to the bench if you can get him in the later rounds. But I would suggest, due to his workload, that you probably try to get him maybe third round, possibly fourth or fifth later on. I'm sure, he'll probably be available. He's going to be available in the later rounds, so definitely try to get him for sure. He's a workhorse. I've had him for a couple years, and yeah, he's got me a lot of results. Devin Singletary. So I remember he was splitting carries with Zach Moss, but he was starting to play better at the end. He's on a good Bills team. Probably worth a later rounds pick for sure. Wouldn't spend an early round pick on him. Hopefully he could do well. So we'll see. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's kind of tough. I think he got hurt at the end. So, but he's a starter and he's been proven. So I would say late second round to early third round for sure. Yeah, so if he's there, so, but it's kind of like prove it season for me, and I wouldn't really risk it because he's kind of injury prone. So same thing, Ramon Stevenson with the Patriots. He's like him and Damien Harris split, but I lean more toward Damien Harris because he's the better running back. Antonio Gibson. So I had him last year in one of my leagues, and he seemed like the running back to be. I had him starting, he was always not scoring much, and when I had him on the bench, he was scoring a lot. So I heard that another running back, I don't know if the one that was robbed and shot. I don't think he's alive, but was doing better. But if he's there in the later rounds, I suggest pick him up. He knows the system pretty well. I don't know how Wentz is going to do, but if they give him the rock, he'll run it. So Tony Pollard, definitely worth a later round pickup, maybe fifth or sixth round. He'll probably cut into Zeke's production, so probably worth an excellent flex spot. He's really fast, so he'll probably get you a lot of points. Miles Sanders. It's hard for me to trust any running back from Philadelphia. They rotate guys around so much. The guys are getting hurt so much that it's so tough. But I guess if he's there, then pick him up because he's a starter, like I said. So he's a starter, then go ahead and pick him up. He's probably worth a bye week replacement, a flex guy, and most. So Melvin Gordon, same thing with him and Williamson in Denver. Probably going to split a lot. Maybe Gordon will get more goal line carries. I had Gordon on my bench, and I rotated him in a lot, so he's worth a stash on the bench. So Cordero Patterson, he was a pleasant surprise. He turned from kick returner to wide receiver to now running back. So I think I mentioned earlier that Falcons were pretty bad at it. I don't know the running back situation, but Yeah, he's definitely worth a flex spot for sure, a bench guy for sure. He's got the tools for it, so definitely a guy that will cover for the bye. So he's Darrell Henderson Jr. He is probably going to split with Cam Akers, so I think you're probably going to have to watch and see who's going to get more carries between the two. It's kind of tough, so he's there possibly, even if you need to fill out your bench. Kareem Hunt, said earlier with Nick Chubb, pretty good too. I think he's trying to play for a new contract. Yeah, bench stash if possible, because Chubb also gets hurt, so keep Hunt around. Michael Carter with the Jets, I think he did pretty well last year. I think they're gonna platoon him with Reese Hall, so I'm not sure on that one. That's probably a wait and see, but definitely probably worth the bench stash. So I'm just pretty much going over. So pretty much all the other guys are kind of just like backups and stuff. We'll see throughout the season. But pretty much naming all the guys that are like potential starters that are worth pickups in early to middle to later rounds to round out your starting lineup and your bench. So hopefully this helps you guys out. That that when the season starts, that these guys will be available to you. They go pretty fast, and you gotta do your research. But the application does tell you who's best available, so that's really good. In case you're not sure. Sometimes I lose track myself because there's so many players, right? But so that's going to wrap it up right now for the quarterbacks and the running backs. So next video is going to be wide receivers and tight ends. So thanks for watching the video. Subscribe if you guys can. Give the video a thumbs up. And thanks for nerding out to our nonsense. And thanks again for watching.